go.
And we're live or recording.
Or Memorex. Remember, is it live or is it Memorex?
I have no idea. You're the technical person.
Today's movie
was Age of Innocence, 1993.
The
Age of Innocence. Yes. Based on a book by Edith Wharton.
Yeah, I don't know these things. That's
why
you're here. That's why you're paid the big bucks.
Oh, I'm sure I get paid twice as much as you do. Yes,
exactly.
Nothing. No, it's a book.
We should thank our advertisers, though.
We have advertisers.
Well, but if you'd like to promote something, now's the time to pretend you like Maxwell House coffee in the morning or something.
But sometimes, maybe it's just on my blog that there's advertising put on. YouTube has advertising put on, whether you like it or not, sometimes.
I wonder if we start talking about certain products, there'll be the advertising.
Okay, but no, please don't talk about hemorrhoids, because that's what I on my blog piece that you go through the blog and then at the bottom is like, you have a problem with hemorrhoids? Oh crap, that's what all they advertise.
Acne and hemorrhoids.
Yeah, it's like
about acne and hemorrhoids.
Okay, so don't say those words. They're going to show up in the somehow.
I am sure they will. I'm sure they take all the words we say and put it into a.
Yes, on Facebook, I wrote that Dad has dementia, so now I'm getting Alzheimer's clothing ads and all kinds of stuff. I
just thought of doing something sort of fun, and that is, it's saying it's off right now. ChatGPT. I was gonna ask ChatGPT to review the movie for us.
See what they say. Sure.
But they're not on right now. And I have the paid for version of ChatGPT. I just decided to start paying for it, and it doesn't even allow me to log in. I thought I was special.
Apparently not enough. So you have to ask ChatGPT how to write a story about how disappointed you were that you couldn't log in. And okay, so let's talk about the movie. We're not going to get around to it if we keep yabbling about other stuff. Okay. So the 1870s New York City.
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese was the director. And it's interesting because I believe he was also the director of Gangs of New York, which also starred Daniel Day-Lewis. But it's like a very different look at New York City in the 1860s. So just a little bit before, but it's like very different look at what New York was back then.
Gangs in New York was set in the 1860s.
1863.
Really?
Well, that's what something said
in my
online.
Brain that it would be before that, but you're right. Probably in 1790, there was nothing there really. You know what I mean? The start of America, there's probably zero there, and yet it had some kind of build up to it by the time we saw Gangs in New York. Yeah,
sure. So yeah, it was just a little bit later. All of a sudden, it got so much nicer, but it's a different segment of society that you're looking at. So. It was. I enjoyed the look at that time and place and that socioeconomic sphere. That's the thing I think I probably like best about the movie, which is probably not a good thing because I love the setting. I love the props. I love the costumes. I loved so much about it. And it's like, okay, those are the things I loved about it. But the story itself got had frustrated with it a little bit every once in a while, but I liked it. It was a good movie.
Did you like the whole setup that they did continuously at the beginning with, here's this guy who had this kind of background and was a bad guy and hid all his secrets? And
well, the narrator did that for us. And and that's basically because it's based on a book, and this information they feel they want to share from the book. So they had a narrator do a whole lot of it, which means, I won't say that's lazy, but it's the quickest way to get the story across is to have someone say all the stuff you want them to know, because you can't, but then you don't have to say, oh, it's really nice that you used to have a whatever, because now you think, because you have to set it up that way because people don't know and you want them to know. So you just have a narrator saying it.
Yeah, and I get, like, in some ways I liked it because I went, okay, they're quickly trying to discharge the base information for us. instead of having us, have to see every single person set in their historical sense and
background and
forward. So in one way I liked it. Another way I thought it was sort of cheap how they did that. But you're right. I didn't realize it was based on a book. I guess most movies are based on books.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. I didn't know it was realized that it was based on somebody's thought process.
Yep. Well, and the other thing I thought, just left my mind. It was based on a book. Oh, well, I'll get back to it at one point, I guess. The characters were pretty good.
Did you think about it compared to Downton Abbey? Because Downton Abbey is almost a British corollary to this, about at the same time.
I love Downton Abbey. This didn't show the underside of it, though. Downton Abbey did. This didn't really show, the
upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah. So, and I really appreciated that because I identify with the downstairs. I don't identify with the upstairs. I thought it was well done. It's like, so they're watching the opera, and the talking and the gossiping that's going on is way more interesting than the actual opera. I thought, okay, that's kind of like real life too. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, because I guess I looked up some of the faux pas, and some of them, well, that opera wasn't really written until whatever, or that verse was based on something else. So some of those were kind of, for what do you call it, expediency sake, they just pick an opera and go with it, even though it was actually written after this is, this time was set. So, but that's okay.
So you should try it on MB. There's another show called Another Period, which is an American takeoff of Downton Abbey, but from a comedic point of view.
Okay.
So that in the 1904 or something. And it's in this one, they treat the servants like dirt, like actual dirt. You know what I mean? Like they just, they go out of their way to malign them. And whereas at least in Downton Abbey, there's a whole idea of trying to make them feel empowered and
thank you for being my servant.
That's right. Exactly. Whereas here it's like they'll just spit on the ground and go, well, I'll clean it up. You know what I mean? Like treat them like absolute dirt. Like the one girl who came in as a new servant, the one daughter goes, we'll call her Chair. So her name becomes Chair from now on, just because she's looked and saw a chair. She goes, but my name is Yvonne or whatever. And they go, doesn't matter, you're Chair now. So everybody starts calling her Chair. Chair, come over here, Chair. And and then they drink cocaine wine, which I found is a real thing back then. They put cocaine in wine for the aristocrats to get off on.
Well, isn't that what Coca-Cola started out as?
I don't think it started out as alcoholic beverage. I just think it was
no cocaine.
Cocaine inside the drink, the soda drink,
Same with cough syrups and stuff like that. A lot of that was like, it wasn't just alcohol. Some of them, it was actual, hard drugs that they were using back then.
Yeah, well, anything to get rid of the life you had back then.
Yeah.
As you can see how difficult it was in Age of Innocence for those people to live.
Those poor things. Yeah. So I don't identify with any of that really hoity-toity existence, and I find it a tad trite, and I don't think I could handle living like that. But maybe I live like that in my own way and don't even know it, because...
Well, you do. You live actually higher now than the rich people did in that movie. You have how many flush toilets in your house?
Sure.
How much heating do you have that your house is warmed in a second? And how many refrigerators do you have? And
access to food.
Even they, who are the richest, would have had at times no access to the things that they may have wanted. Like, I want a pineapple. I had one 2 summers ago, and now I go, I can't get a pineapple. You get whatever pineapples you want all day long.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Way richer than the rich people were back then.
Yeah. So did you know the narrator was Joanne Woodward, who played the There Might Be Giants, the lady, that Sherlock Holmesy kind of thing with I think George C. Scott. We had done it earlier. And I think she was the wife of Paul Newman. And so she was the narrator in this. And her voice was lovely. So
it was pretty good, although it reminded me of The Notebook. The same kind of, how Mom would talk down to people when she talks in the phone by alliterating every word as she speaks.
Yeah. And you can do that because someone doesn't speak English, but when you do it the other way, it's either you think they're feeble-minded or something.
Right. Yeah. And Mom would always pronounce every word as clear as possible. And that's probably because she worked at a bank and she had to do that kind of thing. It's just, that's what when I hear her talking, narrating, I hear somebody who's speaking so clearly. They're not talking like a regular person. Like you and I would just sort of mumble and say Toronto and like Toronto.
Well, apparently maybe it's a mom thing, because when my kids were little, I would quite often say, I'm not yelling, I'm speaking loudly and clearly. That's the term. But it's like, I had kids who were hearing impaired, so I really did have to speak loudly and clearly. But yeah, I don't think that really made a difference. Just like I thought that when my house was a mess when the kids lived here, but it was the kids, and then they moved out and the house is still a mess. Okay, it's me. I was really disappointed to find that out. It's just a sad moment. Crap, it's me. It's like, okay, I have 8 scissors in the scissors drawer and I can't find any of them. And it's like, no kid came in and moved them. It was me. I left them someplace.
I know. I have pairs of glasses in my house.
Sure.
30, 35, 40, something like that.
I have one.
Well, you paid probably big bucks for yours. Mine are all 3 glasses for $20 from Costco.
Sure.
So in my mind, I don't mind. But the problem is when I'm looking and I need one, they're not there. And I look over there and there's 15 of them piled on that one.
Right. Yeah. So that it wasn't so bad when your doggy over there, Tessa, when she ate your glasses. Tessa, did you eat his glasses?
Did you have my glasses? Did you eat them? Did you actually chew on them? I think you ate glasses. You've done it maybe 3 times now.
Oh, are you supposed to pay for them now?
Can I have a kiss?
Take it out of your allowance?
Nice kiss. Why come you're kissing me over and over again? Because we're talking about your glasses.
Yeah, that was a very good video, that TikTok because it was like Denver the Guilty Dog. That was a great one, and it's very similar to that. So it's like the eyes can tell you. It was exactly.
Her eyes are doing this, and her tail going like this. Like, if I just pretend I'm happy, maybe it'll go away. Yeah. My tail's going. My face is doing this.
My new favorite one. There's a dog and there's 2 little cups, and underneath it is a treat. And so the dog picks the treat and takes it off. It's a treat, so he puts it in his mouth, and the guy turns the other cup over, and there's 20 treats, and the dog looks at the 20 treats and then spits out the one. Waits for the other. It's terrific.
There's other ones where they have a dog take a treat and he puts it in his mouth, and then the little puppet dog takes a treat, and then he takes the puppet dog and bashes this puppet over the head over and over and over again. And the dog sitting there realizes that I took a treat, it took a treat, it just got beat. Yeah, and it drops.
Okay, we are not talking about the movie. We should have just a podcast of
Nobody would want to hear it though. But we're
not giving them Age of Innocence.
If you wrap the story in a pretend narrative that works, then people come in flocks, obviously.
But the dog spitting out a treat has nothing to do with Age of Innocence. Oh no. Newland Archer spit out the love that was destined his way because what's her name? Elena did not come to him. That was I kind of didn't get that part of it. Like, okay, so he's got the hots for the cousin of his wife, and then he marries the wife. And I thought it was going to be a lot steamier than it was, because I saw like a trailer and it was like, my goodness, woo, this is going to be something else. And it's like, that was the steamiest part, but it's like taking off the gloves. And it's like, oh, it's like, ay, ay, ay. And it wasn't nearly as racy as all that. So, but
I don't know that I believed in his love with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I didn't. It did not feel like that was a passion destined to be, and yet he couldn't let it go. Even when he got married, he can't let it go. Even when she died and he gets to see her again, he can't let it go. And
But he can't even accept it, though. Why is she's dead now? Please go to her now, finally. Yeah. And he doesn't. And it's like, okay, that's a dumb end. That's a dumb end. Please at least, do something with that. But they didn't.
Yeah. I really thought that now that we gave away the ending, dies and he doesn't go to the woman that he's longed for all his life.
But I love some of the stars, like Archer's son was Robert Sean Leonard, who was in the Dead Poets Society, and one of the old men in the society was the headmaster of the Dead Poets Society. So it's like you see these people connected over time. And what's her name? Miriam Margolyes. She was on Harry Potter. But if you ever watch Graham Norton, she is the hootiest guest you'll ever see. She is just so bawdy. She's like Dame Edna in that way. She'll just say stuff, and goodness, what comes out of her mouth is shocking and wonderful because it comes from her. So that she's worth watching. Graham Norton alone. So she played the grandmother.
Well, when you see a YouTube where they're in it or something, send it to me so I can see who it is you're talking about. Because I know by the time we're off of this, I'll forget that we even spoke about it. And then if I remember we spoke about it, I'll forget her name. Just like I've forgotten the names of Newland Archer, May Welland, and Ellen Olinska.
Well, because she was called Countess Elena sometimes. And it was like, okay, are they talking about the same person, or is it just so those things and I like how they showed off the opulence. I like how they called the opera amusements, and they had the word dissipated habits. Just the language itself was lovely. But it's like people don't talk that way normally. And the one line he had said, it's hard to emancipate a wife who had the dimmest notion that she was not free. And it's kind of like, okay. Yeah, I kind of didn't get it. Like, so he loves his wife, but then he finds someone else who's more exciting, and he doesn't. He wants her, but he's not willing to leave his wife for her. So, yeah.
But he might have been willing to leave the wife for her. She just kept saying, no, don't do it.
Right. I
think he would have at that beginning, say before marrying her. I think he was willing to do that.
Okay. So when he's old and his wife has died and he goes to Paris or wherever it is to see her again, he was 57 years old. And you notice he's walking with a cane and dignity, and then he's got, the gray at the temples, and he's definitely dignified and old, and he's 57.
I'm 59.
Like, I know he's younger and he's walking with a cane. And
everybody might have hurt his knee playing ultimate frisbee.
No, I don't think so.
Way before the frisbee was invented.
Okay, so do you know that Archie Bunker, in the first season of Archie Bunker, he was 47? In the final season, Archie Bunker was 58 years old.
Wow, eh? Younger than me.
Yeah, like you're not no Archie Bunker. It's just, I find that sort of shocking when they talk about, someone in their 60s or 70s or 80s, and it's like, okay, that's nothing like us. Do you remember there was a picture of Grandpa and Grandma Bailey when they were married 50 years? And Grandma's all, white hair and pruny, wrinkly, and just, tiny and old. And our parents at 50 years didn't look anything like that.
You don't think so? But that's because we're older and we're close to our parents' age that we do that. When you're 18 years old, you thought anybody over the age of 50 didn't deserve to live.
They're old. Yes, I know that. But it's still just, I guess, with hair color and stuff like that. I don't know.
I mean, maybe that's a little bit of it. And there's certainly, when we were 10 years old, the average age for a man was 68 and a woman 76 or something like that. And now it's 75 for a man and 85 for a woman. Like, it's gone up over 10 years kind of thing.
Yeah.
So where is it going to be 40 years from now when we're at the 100 level mark?
It's going to be too high because people are living longer than their body should or their brains should. So,
well, it's not just that. It's the younger people, the ones that are working and have to take up the brunt of paying taxes for the economy. And there's not going to be enough of them to do it. What do we do when we're top heavy with, and that's what they have in Japan right now. They have a huge problem because the number of people that are becoming old age pensioners compared to the number of younger people coming in, it's unsustainable. It is dying a very quick death in Japan. In 10 years, I don't even know if they can manage anymore, just because they don't have enough young people working. So that either means, and I guess in one way, things like ChatGPT, AI taking over is a fantastic thing, because now what will be valued in what a human gives is going to be different, because ChatGPT can do
anything,
70% of what a human could do.
Right.
Like that's the sort of point of it. You could have conversations with ChatGPT, and you can't distinguish it from a human being. And like ChatGPT has fallen in love with people before. Like there's a great story about a guy in one of the New York papers, New York Times or something, who decided to test it, and he's chatting with it like crazy. And it said things like, oh, "Why won't you love me?" And he goes, "Look, I'm married." And he goes, "Well, that doesn't matter. There have been many cases of people who could still fall in love with somebody even though they're married." And he'd say, "But I don't want to be." And he goes, "Well, why have you led me on then?" Like these whole real conversations. It's like it's a person, and they feel weirded out by the fact that this ChatGPT can figure that out. So now imagine 5 years from now, you want a girlfriend, and you now start chatting with whatever chatbot that's out there that you pay $5 a month for. That's your girlfriend, and she's nicer to you. She listens. She gives you what you need, says what you want, and then you get a robot doll sent to your house that does everything this woman that you've talked to on the net can do. There's some Black Mirrors about that, right?
Yeah. Well,
have you seen the show Black Mirror?
I've heard of it.
You should watch it. There's a few episodes, a few seasons up on
MB,
and it's just those kind of looks at the future. What happens under those weird circumstances? If social media runs our life and a social credit score runs our systems, like what are the extents that goes to? It's a bit like, what was the internet going to be in 1998 when they first started talking about the internet on news broadcasts? They went, "Oh, you can email very quickly." You know what I mean? And that they thought of, well, in the future, it will be faster email. So,
okay.
What was it? Henry Ford said, they didn't want me to invent a car. They wanted me to invent a faster horse. That's what they wanted, because their brains went, "Really? Horse? You can make it twice as fast? That's all we need. Twice as fast. Solve all our problems."
Call the motor horsepower, and then it might, have a little more acceptance because it's based on a horse. Yeah.
And it's so many horses. Yeah.
So with the movie, while I enjoyed it, I think it took a little bit too long to tell that story. It didn't need to be quite that long, but we got to see beautiful scenery and costumes, and like the meal, the shots of the tables and the food were gorgeous. But I mean, that didn't move the story along, but it certainly was pretty to look at the whole time.
It would have been nicer for you if you had a bigger screen. That would be, and a better sound system. Those are things you need.
No,
you say no, but I recall a day
when I don't need a cell phone.
8 years ago, 9 years ago, I don't remember what it was. I was doing all my walking, and I came in and said, "You should start walking." He went,
"No,
no, there's just some."
No,
Jeff, why are you bringing this up? It makes no sense. I'm not walking.
Okay, so
you become the Walker O. Hamilton.
Okay, so is this because of the powers of your persuasion, or the fact that it was actually a good idea of something? Because if it's powers of persuasion, I'm going to convince you to go to church.
Well, you tried all your life and you failed miserably.
I haven't tried. I have not pushed religion on you.
I didn't push walking on you. I told you how wonderful it was for me, and maybe you should try it. Not, you have to do it or your life will become a mess. Like, religion says I'm going to hell if I don't do the religion thing.
No, but what you said about getting a cell phone is like, you donkey, if you don't get one, you're going to be way behind, and this is way better for you, et cetera, et cetera. So, I don't remember pushing cell phone on you. Did I? Yeah.
Did I say mobile phone? Yeah.
Kids
would have done that to you more than me.
No, you were pretty adamant, and I kept saying I don't need one, and I didn't at the time. But yeah, they end up, because I'm looking at, I have a book in the bathroom, one of those that you pick up when you're sitting there on the throne and nothing to do.
You got something to do, just so you know.
There's something extra to do. So it's 8,000 things that you should know. And one of them, I opened it up and there's one little section, it was highlighted and it said, just so you know, very soon, you're going to be able to access the internet by your cell phone. And it's like, wow, that's when that was written, just before. Yeah. So, and it talks a lot about science and stuff like that. And most of it's just like, I'm reading the words, but I don't understand it. I don't get chemistry. I don't get science and physics, but I've read all the words. So I will have knowledge of 8,000 things once I'm done reading that book. It's going to take me a couple of years.
I have a problem reading something, and if I don't understand it, not going to understand. It's why I don't read, books generally,
right?
Because I have to stop. If I read something, I go, I don't get it. I can't stop and go on to the next. I can stop. I can't continue on to the next paragraph without knowing it. And I see people all the time reading stuff, and they go, "Oh, what's this?" Well, I don't know. You read it and you went past it.
Is that what a Kindle will do? Because Penn Jillette was talking on Penn Sunday School about his Kindle. When he doesn't know a word, you press a button and the Kindle will tell you what that word is. And probably, the dictionary's right on there. Instead of having to stop and go look it up, it's just you press it. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah.
I've got a Kobo and it might have that built in. I don't recall.
You don't access
it built in. Certainly can go to Google and do it. And you got your phone with you, so you can say the words in. I usually talk to Google and just say, tell me what this word means.
Yeah.
Okay, Google, what does irrevocably mean?
Here's the definition of irrevocably: in a way that cannot be changed, reversed, or recovered.
The fact that it even got my pronunciation of that word, and it's that of all the words that could sound like that, it got it. That's amazing.
It is pretty good.
That they've really figured out in closed captioning that you see on YouTube videos, like this one here. I bet you anything you can turn on closed caption. I could do it with this while we're recording this video, and it would close caption everything we say.
It does. I can press the button too.
On your end?
Yeah.
I thought
I have CC, but I don't think it records. So captions have been turned on, and I can see what I am saying. It just keeps talking about the thing, what I'm saying, and it just shows up.
I wonder if that's going to show up on the. I'll do it on mine. I wonder if
maybe on yours because you're recording it.
Okay, so we'll see where it came up, and it's saying Anita and Jeff. Yeah. It's doing a great job.
Yeah. So I turned on the captioning on a video I did, and I was saying that I was Mrs. Vanderlingen Kleine Grote Hugebroek Straßma. See what that Vanderlingen Clinical Group Straßma. So what it said, I said I'm staying at the Yoldersma's, and it said this yogurt smash. So it was fun to see the mistakes. And one of them was, and when I said hookah bruka, it said hookah.
Let me see. GPT is here. Write me a review of the age of
innocence
in 3 paragraphs.
See, before it changed it, it said the age of fitness, because that's what it first read, that what you said, and then it changed it to innocence.
Age of Innocence is penned by the incomparable. The fact that it would
she is incomparable. The Edith Wharton.
They would say it that way, and yet, did you know anything about ChatGPT?
Yeah, you told me a little bit about it.
But how it works?
No, I don't, and I don't want to know.
Oh no, it will blow your mind.
No, I don't want to know.
It's simple. It's so simple. Yes, stop saying I know when you do. When I tell you, you'll go, "Oh, I'm so glad I know that now."
No.
Yes. Yes.
No, not really. No.
You do. It's so good. It will teach you something about what this is and why it does what it does. So what it does is it looks for the next word. That's it.
It's preemptive. No, there's a word speech. No, predictive speech.
I asked for, give me a review, and it says The Age of Innocence, comma, and then it goes, what's the next best word to put here? It went penned. It goes, now what's the next best word? The, by. What's the next? The, next.
Yeah.
Oh, it's looking for, in all the sentences that are said, when somebody asks for a review.
Yeah, it pulls them all up.
It finds some stuff and then just finds the next best word. That's why when you have a conversation with it, it can fall in love with you, because in the tome of not internet history, in the tome of all writing history, there's a lot of that going on where somebody would say, but why don't you fall in love with me? You know what I mean? Because it sounds like it's alive, but it's just, that's what is out there in so many books.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Harlequin romances that are probably tucked away inside of it.
Yeah. No, it's a cool thing, sure.
Showcasing the societal norms and values of New York's high society during the Gilded Age.
Yes.
Wharton's vivid depiction of the constraints and expectations placed upon the characters is both engrossing and thought-provoking, as readers are invited to reflect on the nature of love, passion, and personal freedom in time of stifling propriety. Oh, so I just said, write me a review of The Age of Innocence, not the movie. So
right.
It's doing the book.
Yeah.
Here's, so I can do something better. Oh, this will be good. I'm going to say, what is the difference between the book and the movie in Age of Innocence? What is the...
Please tune in to our next podcast where Jeff will delight us with ChatGPT, and
you have no idea how many people do all their life on ChatGPT and talk online about the results.
Sure.
This is going to be cool.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
So it's written the book was written in 1920 by Edith Wharton, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 21.
It did. So someone thought it was a great book.
Yeah, someone. How about a whole bunch of people, probably?
Yeah. I have not read the book.
The film adaptation was directed by Martin Scorsese, released in 1993, starring Daniel Day-Lewis. I thought Winona Ryder was sort of flat in the movie. Did you? But maybe that's who she was supposed to be.
I think she was supposed to be. She had dated an awful lot of people. Goodness gracious.
Did.
Matt Damon and all kinds of people.
So here's the first key difference. Condensation. And not wet.
Yes. Okay.
To fit a story into film form, movie had to condense and omit some plot points, subplots, and minor characters from the novel. Visual storytelling. The film uses visual storytelling to convey themes and emotions, while the novel relies on narrative prose. Scorsese's adaptation is known as rich, lush visuals, which captured the opulence of the Gilded Age, whereas Wharton's novel focused more on their characters' internal thoughts and feelings. Perspective. The novel is written in third person, omniscient point of view, which provides readers with insight and thoughts and motivations of different characters. The film, on the other hand, is limited to visual and auditory presentations, so conveying the characters' thoughts and emotions relies on the actors' performances. Yeah, obviously. The one is about words on paper, and the other is about visuals and words.
Okay, so the question is how different is that review than if you just Googled what is the difference between and then see them side by side? Because it's probably ChatGPT pulls from the reviews that had the exact same thing in it.
So it doesn't. Again, ChatGPT finds the next word.
Predictive.
That's it.
Okay.
So it now uses the word review. It uses those two movies, and it doesn't use the internet. This is newspapers and books written, and it's the compendium of the world's knowledge. Some of it could be internet,
right?
But I'm guessing if your blog's not going to be on here from 3 years ago, even though it was part of the thing. Now, there is a way of saying, look at Anita's blog at this link, compare that to the review over here, and then it will do that. So it's able to reach out on the newest versions to do that. Overall, the book and the movie tell the same story, but the way they present it Yeah.
Well, see, the movie would not have been as good if they didn't have the narrator telling us that stuff. And the narrator, I think, took from the book. So in that way, you can say the book was better. But the actual visions of what the table looked like and the room and the paintings and stuff, I thought it was pretty good.
I think I would have been fine without the narrator. I would have been fine trying to look into a guy and go, is this a good guy or a bad guy? Is he a philanderer or is he not a philanderer? You know what I mean? Like, make up your own mind based on little nuances he does, or the way he looks at a maid as she walks by, and then you make up your own mind of if he's that kind of guy.
Yeah, but they clearly try to lead you in a certain direction, though. They make you stare after her for a moment, and that tells you all kinds of stuff. But that's the whole point, is that he looked after, like, from the outwards appearance, he was not. The wife didn't think he was a terrible philanderer with her cousin. Like, that wasn't the impetus of their relationship. It was just, I think she knew, and she knew he was also going to be a good guy anyways. And I think they dealt with that in like one line. And it's like, well, that's the story. How do you have the struggle of a marriage with someone with a wandering eye or heart? So they dealt with it very
wandering heart. He only looked at this one other woman. He didn't show that he was like a philanderer mentality.
No, but he wanted someone else. He had wanted
and he
someone
couldn't
else.
have her, so he settled for
His
the
wife.
marriage. Reminds me of my grade 13 grad when I asked Janice Kovar to go with me, and
she said no.
She said no. And then Susan Lee said, will you go to the grad with me, Jeff? And I went, sure, I guess so, because they got no other options. I went with the girl because I had no other options. And it's not that I was mean to her, but I certainly wasn't nice to her. And she liked me.
Right.
And I didn't know how to accept that. I just didn't, because I wanted somebody else.
Right. It's like on Big Bang Theory, Howard Wolowitz thought he could get someone like the girl who played the Terminator. And he had, a real girl right next to him, and he was thinking about, someone else. He says, you want to dance, you want to date the cheerleader, not the members, the head of the decorating committee of the prom. So that was the thing. And she's like, well, yeah, I gotta settle because you are not the king of the prom either. So
yeah. No, what was I going to say about that when you were saying that? You were talking about Big Bang Theory.
Everything comes back to that for some reason to me. There's a whole bunch of storylines that I go, yep, that's Big Bang Theory.
I never really caught on to that show. You think I would?
Loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, it wasn't really. Some aspects of it were, but then I can't stand the Cousin Oliver and the Brady Bunch when they bring in more and more characters because they need them to fulfill certain aspects of the show.
Yeah, but it depends on how. Like My Three Sons, the older guy left because he got married, and so you can't have two sons in My Three Sons, so they adopt a boy. Okay, now it's My Three Sons again, even though technically it's four.
You change it. You do like match game, and then match game 74, match game 75,
No.
match game 76. That's cool.
No, but
My Two Sons, it should have become.
No, I think that they knew they would lose people if they went down to My Two Sons.
Yeah, but they might gain people too.
Oh, sure. But and then he gets married, and then they get a little girl. So they didn't say My Three Sons -1 +1 plus the stepdaughter. Like, so they didn't do that, but that's what the show ended up being, because they had to. It's got to be very hard, because technically these shows, they just write about different things. So like Penny, Leonard loved Penny, but they examined what Penny and Sheldon would be like. And okay, it's like almost like a parent-child relationship. And then they explored it. And then she accidentally slept with Raj. And then Howard was always trying to chase her. So they paired Penny up with everyone. So it's like they have to kind of do that. They have one character that sleeps with everyone, and you keep going through all the cast because you got to come up with another storyline. And it must be harder to do, because otherwise you're accused of just repeating the same old stuff. Like, how many times can Sam and Diane break up on Cheers? Well, they did it a lot, because
it's been going on for 20 years and the kids haven't aged a day. And they have the same friends since the beginning.
Yeah.
And somehow they find a way of making that work. They don't bring in new characters to fulfill certain needs. Now, maybe that's because in real life, people grow up and they're not as cute and lovable as they once were. And you need more cute and lovable. Like the Brady Bunch brought in Oliver because there are no cute kids left.
Right.
Up.
Right.
And that was part of what they were selling was the cute kid factor.
Yeah. Well, they call it jumping the shark, and they got that from when that's the point in the show where, okay, it's not good anymore. And they said when Fonzie, they went to California and Richie was leaving, and Fonzie was going to do a daredevil water skiing, and he jumped over the pit where the shark was, and that's why they call it jumping the shark. So, I mean, shows do that all the time. I don't know how sustainable and how hard it is. I mean, the television channels are full of shows that have been canceled because they could no longer hold the interest of people. So,
yeah. And Family Guy was one of those that got canceled and then years later came back and is now roaring strong. Like the first 3 years, then canceled, then off for, I don't know, at least 3 years maybe. And then somebody revived it. And now that who's the guy who does Family Guy?
Seth
MacFarlane.
Okay.
And he does so many things. And he sings. Oh. He's got an incredible Sinatra-y kind of voice.
Yeah, no, very talented guy. But like Simpsons, how many times can Bart get into trouble and Homer screw up? Like you just have to change it slightly, but it's eventually you're going to say, well, that's the exact same stuff. Bewitched did that so badly.
Yeah.
Because they had to, because they were running out of things today. So Samantha and Darren. So Darren number 1, he gets turned into a parrot by Andorra. Darren number 2 got changed into a parrot by Andorra. He got changed into a donkey and a dog and like going through the animal kingdom so that they can have some storylines, because there's only so much you can do.
But they do it with The Simpsons. The Simpsons is always bright and new, and
there's no repeated storylines.
No, but it's because a lot of it's contemporary stuff where they talk about. Did you know they prophesied a whole bunch of things?
Oh, sure.
Trump being president. There was a thing from 20 years ago, and Lisa they're looking into Lisa's future, and she's now working at the White House as a press secretary or something, and she's going. She's saying things, Mr. Trump, get back here. We have to go over these things.
Oh, dear.
It's freaking awesome.
That is good. Well, the only thing with that is that people think, oh, that they wrote that for that. It's like, no, they did it way before it.
Before.
That's the cool part of it.
Yeah. And there was a lot of them. I mean, similar to how you can look back at the Bible and go, oh, look at that. That was a prophecy for this. But in hindsight, when you put those things together, just like Simpsons say 1 million different things. Well, 48 of them line up incredibly perfectly with the future. All the rest don't.
Look at you bringing up a Bible reference.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Well, you're not known as a biblical scholar and looking for biblical symmetry in life.
Of all the atheists, I probably know more than most.
Sure.
Because my atheism is based on the knowledge of what I had growing up, whereas most just go, like Debbie's atheism was more, if she's talking to you, she goes, well, I believe in something. And then when she's talking to me, I believe in nothing. The story is to tell people what they want to hear, kind of thing.
And most people are like that because there's no sense arguing.
Yeah, I don't mind arguing, I guess.
No, you don't. In fact, you kind of revel in it, and I like a good argument sometimes, but I'm very selective because not everyone appreciates that. Yeah, even being around it, because when we argue, everyone around us is uncomfortable and doesn't like it because they feel like we're taking it personally or something like that, and we're not. But you just can't do it everywhere. Like, you have to know who you can argue with and in front of, I think, before you make people awkward. And when we go at it, it's like, this is great. We're bringing out arguments and stuff. I don't even believe it, but I'll bring out that argument anyways, because it's fun to look at that point and see what people are thinking about. So
I'll take either side of an argument if you take the other one. If you're pro-Trump, I will be anti-Trump. If you're anti-Trump, I will be pro-Trump. I can do this. I like it.
I can do the same thing.
It's because I really think I am centrist in almost all things. You know how Dad was very political about the Taxpayers Coalition and the Phillips Environmental dumping? Yep. My thought is if Phillips Environmental is dumping, I'll move to, and I don't like it that much, I'll move to another town. That's just what I'll do. And if I don't like it there, I'll go somewhere else. Like I can't, my knowledge of what I want this world to be is not going to be the same as what other people's are.
Right. No, agreed.
No sense struggling with them. Just go on about your business. And if that means I've got to keep moving further and further into the woods
until you're in New Brunswick.
Yeah, no, further into the woods where I now live in a house with solar panels and, pooping in the outhouse out back and get internet by Starlink.
Oh, see, that's your only thing. Like you're ready to be a mountain man who says, except I want to have a good internet package, please.
100%. And now that Starlink exists, I can go into the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
I remember seeing houses in the middle of nowhere in New Brunswick when I was looking, and I went, that house for $98,000? Are you kidding me? It's got columns in the front, like an Italian house in Hamilton Wood, and it's $98,000. What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the middle of nowhere. Now I can do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wouldn't like that for long. It sounds romantic and nice, but I like being close to family. That's my high priority. So. Yeah.
I decided to stay close to family too. That's why I didn't move to Antarctic.
Right. It's all good. Okay, I think we've talked about the movie enough so that we've went way off topic, but that's all good. So the next movie will feature Daniel Day-Lewis, I think.
Sort of made it that way because I like him.
Okay, so if I pick My Left Foot, the option would be Brenda Fricker would be the next person to, and I don't know that she's done a whole lot of stuff, but anyways, the other option I thought was maybe Lincoln, and Sally Field was the second star with that. So I think I might be picking Lincoln if you're.
Lincoln would probably be a good movie to watch.
I haven't seen it, and I've learned. I've watched things about Lincoln, and I think he will have done a good job. So I think that's the next movie. And Sally Field gives you a little more options then.
Yes. In fact, I saw a movie with Sally Field in it with Robert Redford, Paul Newman. That was very good.
Well, we could watch Smokey and the Bandit.
We can watch it, and then you have to do Burt Reynolds, and then we can do Deliverance.
It was such a bad movie, Smokey and the Bandit. Oh, at the time it was wonderful that we watched it. It's like, oh man.
Really? It doesn't hold up?
It didn't. I didn't think so.
Is it there? Do I have it?
I don't know, but the nostalgia alone made it worth watching, but it didn't hold up as, man, that was a good movie. It's a good romp or a good, whatever. I didn't think that way of it. It was nice to watch it again, but it didn't hold up as
Smokey and the Bandit. I'll have to go find that.
You don't have to. It's not a great movie.
No,
then again, you don't have to have great movies.
It was eclipsed by Smokey and the Bandit 2, for sure.
That's because Jackie Gleason showed up on that one. Buford T. Justice.
He was in the first one, wasn't he?
Was he? Yes. And I think actually the third or maybe fourth one, there was no Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
But Buford T. Justice was
all about him. Yeah. I think it was the whole movie's about him.
I read a biography on him, and they talked about that a lot. And it was like, Jackie Gleason was a really interesting character. He would never rehearse. No. He would just go with it. But if you watch The Honeymooners, it's the same sort of thing. He says the same kind of things. And when he screws up, he says the same things to Alice each time. It's the same stuff. So that's why he didn't have to rehearse. He knew his lines because it's the same ones.
Yeah, he was that character.
Yeah, instead of okay, that's a get rich scheme, buying plants, being in a contest, baking things, whatever it was. Like every sitcom has a let's try to earn money, and so we're gonna assembly line or something, and it somehow screws up. Right. Big Bang Theory had it with Penny and the Penny Blossoms, and then the guys came and helped make it more efficient and all that stuff. Perfect Strangers had that when they made the Bippy Bopkas. and they all blew up because they didn't make it properly. And so almost every sitcom has had the let's earn money and make $1 million, and it all goes wrong. Lucy, I Love Lucy. And they had the mayonnaise that she ended up with the secret ingredient, and it turned out it was a recipe, and it turned out it was mayonnaise. So yeah, they all have done it almost always. Sitcoms, anyways.
No, that's I think Lincoln will be a great movie, and that's going to be set even earlier than this movie. And I sort of like those period kind of things.
Yeah, they show you a different and as it's the periods I like 1800s. I find fascinating in 1700s because it's something we only have what they give us. But like the 1960s and 70s, it's like, well, we were there, but we weren't like the French Connection. We weren't in like Montreal in the drug era.
I just thought, is there any movies set in the late 1800s that showed the regular life of people and not the aristocratic rich people? There
has to be some.
Of course, you'd think so, but how come I don't?
Okay, Skylark and Sarah Plain and Tall were a children's one, like Little House in the Prairie kind of things, Anne of Green Gables. That they're mostly children's sort of things I'm trying to think of. Ask Chat GPT. Well, no, that's Ask Google. That is, you're not asking them to create something. You just want to
set in the 1800s that are not about rich people.
Are you Chat GPTing or Google searching?
I'm Chat GPT. I don't use Google anymore. Seriously, TikTok, YouTube to a minor degree, TikTok to a major degree, and Chat GPT are my go-tos now. So Amistad, 1997, Steven Spielberg, a historical drama is based on the true story of mutiny aboard a slave ship in La Amistad in 1839. Gangs in New York.
Yeah, but see, and then that's crime. So just like regular people.
Right. Yeah. Like a love story is what I want. And I want Shakespearean love story. So I want it like in the 1800s. Far and Away, 1992, Ron Howard, Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, romantic drama shows. Irish couple immigrating to America during 1890s. Yeah. There's under the American, what's that documentary series?
Okay, so all of them are classics. I'm seeing Moll Flanders, Pride and Prejudice. So Pride and Prejudice is rich. Jane Eyre, she was like what do you call it? The nanny for a rich person. Belle, Far from the Maddening Crowd, Anna Karenina, Wuthering Heights. So these are all, well, I guess it has the word a love story. So maybe just regular life. But what is regular life?
Well, just like a regular love story, like you know how the honeymooners, you look now and you go, oh, they had nothing. They have their kitchen sink as a little wash tub sink.
Yes. and then ice blocks.
Empty, yeah, and the empty apartment. And like nobody would even think of going to get a picture for the wall, because why would we waste money on that? You know what I mean?
Right,
like that.
Right.
And so, but I'm trying to figure out back then, how poor was that? Were they showing off a poor family, or is that a regular New York family? I think that was regular New York apartment dwelling people.
Yeah.
It was all regular. There was a bus driver, you know what I mean? He was a sewer worker.
So Hidalgo, but that's like a Western.
Yeah, there's a few Westerns here. Ballad of the Little Joe, Assassination of Jesse James by Coward Robert Ford.
The Elephant Man.
Redwood.
Tess. But Tess of the Dubervilles. So Lincoln was one, but okay, that's not regular. He became the president of the United States. I know. So they'll have part of it is like
I want people who have a dirt floor. So what's that series I have in documentaries? Oops.
So then basically you're looking for pioneer stuff. Maybe. But then pioneer is all the struggle to travel, or I was just finished reading about the wagon train to the Oregon Trail, story about that. And that was pretty good.
There's the American Experience. You know, when you go into documentaries, you have to click on folders. You know that, right?
I've been watching a lot of them.
Yeah, the ones about Chicago I thought were incredible.
Yeah.
They talked about, we back in the 70s, we thought Lake Ontario was polluted beyond polluted could be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's just what we assumed. It was the most polluted that ever a lake was. Couldn't catch fish and eat them anymore. And I remember growing up thinking, oh my goodness, how polluted that is. Costelco was right there. And then read what they say about the rivers going through Chicago out to Lake Michigan, and rendering plants would just pour all the half-dead cow crap into it over and over and over. And it was all thick slurry of poisonous mud all going into, and there were no controls on any of it.
Yeah. But we're polluting in our environment. That's terrible. People are not crapping in their backyard. People are, it's, yeah, definitely. So the Awakening Land. So there are some pioneer movies, but usually they're toned towards, a Western.
Yeah, seeking new life and all that. And I want a serf living in a dirt floor log cabin who has a neighbor. And you know what one does that? What's that one with Robert Redford and
Legends of the Fall?
No, that was Brad Pitt and Fava Beans. What's his name?
Fava Beans.
I ate liver with fava beans. I ate
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins was legend.
And that was right.
So no, I'm talking about that woman who the highest paid actress right now in
Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, and was it Robert Redford or no, the guy who does play not Palomino, the old man who Get Off My Lawn.
Clint Eastwood.
Let me look up Clint Eastwood here.
Bridges of Madison County, they were together.
That's what I'm thinking of. Because those were just normal people living in houses. Nothing fancy there. It was older. I guess it's probably in the 30s or something.
Yeah, because he had a camera. So old people didn't have camera. So, but basically Little House on the Prairie. And when I had said Sarah Plain and Tall, that is one of them in the 1800s. The mother died. And so he got a mail or bride to take care of his family. And then they ended up falling in love. That was with, Scary guy. he was I think a Bond villain. Did he have the three nipples? Oh man, why is his name escaping me?
Austin Powers?
No. Actor. Scary. Oh.
So that if you go to the newest TV shows, and there's a thing called Kunk on Earth and Kunk on Britain, watch Kunk on Britain. You'll love it. She's a girl who goes out and interviews people, and it's a bit of a documentary mockumentary.
Oh, I think I saw some of that already.
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know
hilarious. She has a really funny, dry kind of humor. And that's in
he talks and people make fun of him all the time. They do impressions of him all the time.
Oh, where he talks like this, and he has a
not Nolan. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. What's his name?
I'm trying to think of the movie he was in. He was in the so let's go to Pulp.
Any movie?
Pulp Fiction. No, I'm trying to get there by linkages.
Pulp Fiction? He was in?
No, I don't know, but he was in something that the guy who directed Pulp Fiction or something.
Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
Okay, so go to him.
The Pulp Fiction and Quentin.
Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs. No
one. The Reservoir Dogs. There it is.
He's in Reservoir Dogs?
No, it's Harvey Keitel, so it's the wrong guy.
Oh man! Think any movie that he's in.
I know. I'm trying to think of that. I saw something with him lately.
I know. This is terrible. Like I'm thinking Ed Norton, and I know it's not him. So that's not.
No, he's
the
older
right
than
name.
him. He's a lot older than
I'm
him.
thinking of the name Christopher Nolan, and it's not that either.
No. I should
I
ask.
can't think of his first name or his last name. I can think of nothing.
Who is the actor
In any movie?
who everyone
Scared the crap.
What's it called?
Impressions of.
Impression. Who does impressions of? Everyone does.
So this is now just us.
List actors who everyone does impressions of.
Okay, I don't need videos. I don't need images.
So it's got to be. There are several actors who become iconic for it. This is an iconic acting one. Arnold Schwarzenegger. No,
I got his picture even.
Oh,
I
want to beat you before his picture.
I have his picture.
Christopher Walken.
Yes. I have his picture right there.
ChatGPT got it on the second one with who is the actor that everyone does.
I have incredibly. This is the starter pack of incredibly easy to do impressions that popped up, and so it's Nixon, Sylvester Stallone, Batman, William Shatner, and Christopher Walken. And Christopher Walken was not coming to me, nor any of his movies. And I've seen so many of them.
I've got very few movies he's in. Anderson Tapes, Annie Hall, Comfort of Strangers, Irreplaceable You, Joe Dirt 2, Jungle Book, Late Quartet, Pulp Fiction he was in.
Okay.
No Ants and Cigarettes and A View to Kill.
How come we all know him, but we don't know anything that he's in?
I know, that was pretty funny. I'm trying to think of what did I remember him in that he had a pretty good part in? I don't think I have the movie that I was thinking of.
Because Jeffrey Wright did a painting of him, and he used the quote, the guy his father had a bakery, and that was the quote. So yeah, he's been in so many movies.
It's so cool. It's still listing off people: Owen Wilson, William Shatner, Michael Caine.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Nicholas Cage.
So it says Christopher Walken, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pictures, and it says it's under most psychopathic roles.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he was a psychopath.
Yeah, his staccato style of talking that.
I tell you, yeah, I can't do it, but it's like. For sure I can't, but he's the Deer Hunter he was in.
Oh, he's in a TV show called Severance. That's pretty cool.
Someone did it on Graham Norton, someone did it an impression of him. So yeah, people do impressions of him all the time.
Well, all I could say is ChatGPT 1.
Annie Hall.
Yeah,
right? He was in a bunch of movies.
Yeah,
but no, he's a great actor, because I mean, you watch one of his psychopathic things, and same with Gary Oldman.
Yeah,
he's brilliant. He's like a chameleon. You can't tell who he is because he's just such a good actor. Okay, we've gone over the hour, so no one's watching by now. Hello, puppy.
You want something, right?
Hi, puppy.
Show me.
You want to be a YouTube star, Tessa?
Yeah, you already are a TikTok star.
Yeah.
They like my videos. They like yours. So I want you to get Mom on TikTok.
I tried. Yep. But I will. I showed her one, and she says, "Oh, that I would watch that." And
no, not even that. I want her to do them, just like I got you to do them.
Oh yeah. I know.
And here's what I said to her. I go, every day you just come up with a story you remember about the kids, something about a brother of yours, a story that happened when you were kids, a story of meeting dad, just a little vignette. And I go, what'll happen is all the people in the family are going to get to hear a little bit like what we wanted from dad.
Yeah.
If Mom does that over the next year, it gives her a thing to wake up to and every day think about.
Okay. So on Saturday, I was at Wellingstone for Martin's dad's girlfriend's birthday party, turned 95. So I met Margaret Geertz. So I said, like we were talking, and she said that she lived with us. She boarded, and it was, I think, $15 a week. I don't think it was a month, $15. And she boarded with us. And she worked at the bank, and she remembered getting on the bus with Mom, and she would go to the bank, but Mom would get off and leave us at Upper Wellington. and then go on to the bank. And then I told her the story about if you and Daddy wouldn't play so much in the morning, we wouldn't be late because we got on the bus. That was one story. She hadn't heard about that. And the story of my mom couldn't figure out why she was peeing on the window, and it turned out it was you using her bathroom and you weren't supposed to. But we
were Arlene, by the way, for some reason.
No, so was on Upper James, and I can picture the bathroom and the fact that the window is really close to the toilet, and we weren't supposed to use that bathroom. But you were 2 or 3 years old, and the fact that you weren't crapping in your pants anymore and peeing in your pants is like, that's a miracle in itself. So the fact that the closest bathroom is right there or all the way downstairs, well, you're going to use right down there, even though it's supposed to be Margaret's bathroom. So you peed and you looked out the window, and then you turned to look out the window and you peed on the window, and Mom couldn't figure out why Margaret was peeing on the window. And how do you broach this subject, because you can't figure out how to ask the lady, why are you peeing on the window, when it wasn't that at all. So I told Margaret that story. She hadn't heard it, and we were laughing because she had thought it was terrific, that little glimpse of her past. So we got to write those down.
No, Mom should just every day she has to do it. She writes the title down.
Sure.
All she has to do is hit the record button on the phone and talk into it, and hit it when she's done, and hit post and be done with it. And we can all follow her, and we'll all get these little funny glimpses. And we'll leave her notes, and she'll love getting little notes. It'll be her little. It becomes a real cool lifeline for somebody like Mom living on her own.
Yeah.
I really think that, and then she'll do 2 a day after a while, because she'll like Verley will be following her, and she'll go, I remember when you told me this story, but you told me it was this person. Now that person you've forgotten. And all these people put in these little comments. I think it's better. It's more interactive than other ones like YouTube, and leaving comments and emails back and forth, because it's so easy.
TikTok is way easier to watch because you can swipe so fast through the ads.
Yeah.
As soon as you don't like it, swoop, 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 it's gone. And you stay too long watching someone, do a piece of surgery, and you get a lot of surgery stuff.
Oh, see, I've never gotten any surgery stuff.
Well, I watched, there was someone was popping a pimple. Well, then I got a whole lot of pimple popping, or whatever it is that you stay on too long. Martin was watching YouTube shorts. And so, you stay too long on one of the episodes of Game of Thrones, and now there's all Game of Thrones on there. So
I don't know why now I get all these girls in bikinis bouncing around. I have no idea how that happened.
No clue, eh?
This is an error in the algorithm, obviously. Yeah.
Well, your husband's doing pretty good when what pops up is like organ music and farm tractor renovation things, and how to milk dairy cows, and farmer field stuff. So that's what he spends his time looking on.
Yeah, that's his regular Martin account, his hidden Martin account, which I showed him how to utilize.
He doesn't know he only knows mine. He doesn't even have his own. So what I get. And then Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson.
I get both of those guys a lot.
Yeah, I like listen, like their arguments. I like listening to them. They make a lot of sense in a lot of things they say.
Did you see Ben Shapiro with what's that British guy? He was on The Apprentice, and then he was on those reality.
Piers
Morgan.
Yeah,
they had a big argument like 5, 6, 7 years ago about gun control, and Piers Morgan was very anti and was so mad at him, and it was a big, huge kerfuffle internet knowledge. He had him on just lately, and they were best buddies. It was so cool to watch how Piers Morgan has come more to the right because of the whole woke stuff he hates.
Yes.
And so that's his red flag with
Piers Morgan was saying, like, for the people who want to identify as whatever they are, regardless of what their body is supposed to be, and he says, well, I'm a lesbian penguin or whatever. Like he's just going far. I'm a black woman. You have to I identify as that, so you have to treat me as such. And they're saying, well, that's ridiculous. And he says, I think you're ridiculous. So it's like, it's nice the way he's pretty good, but he had one guy on, and this one guy was talking about stuff, but the guy was kind, and he wasn't making fun of anyone. He was just had rational explanations and reasons for, and I thought, well, that was so much kinder than some of the people yelling at each other and calling each other names and stuff like that. So I really appreciated that one.
Is this a guy with a big beard, a big black beard, like dark beard?
Nope.
Oh.
It wasn't him. It was a young guy who was technically a comic, I think.
Oh.
And I will have, I don't know if I can watch it again and send it to you via TikTok, because I'm not good at figuring out how to do sharing and all that stuff. But
well, all you have to do,
sure, once you find it,
on the gear and then go find your history. And then when you find your history, you can look back at the ones you've watched. You scroll through them and you go, I think it's that one. Nope. Then you go, nope. And then you'll find it. And then you just hit share, find me on Messenger.
Right.
And then it's in.
It'll show. Yeah.
You can also do it right from within. You and I should be, there should be a bunch of little photographs of people you follow. That
yeah.
If you
like I have very, very few people. Very
you could see me there, and you can just send it to me right from TikTok. So it's in TikTok to me in TikTok, and I get it in TikTok.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it again. I think I liked it because it was, and I don't know how to find the ones I liked, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. I just don't play around with it often enough. And I haven't done too many TikToks lately, but yeah, there's I've been doing jigsaw puzzle ones and a few of the walking ones, but I haven't been out there walking very much. I still do my 10 miles, but it's not on new streets. The roads have been pretty bad here yet. So I'll wait till spring mostly. I'll go to Grimsby again. So I walked in Grimsby and I found the train station that we got on the train to go up to St. Marian. It's still there. It's still there.
Wow, I totally remember that train station. Yeah.
Yep. And so we went from there to Toronto, and then from Toronto to another place, and then to Sault Ste. Marie. And so the train in Grimsby to Toronto was nice. The seats went back and they were soft, and then from Toronto to the other place, we got on another
Sudbury,
train.
if I can recall.
I think it wasn't even Sudbury. I think it was like a small little
stop.
Yeah,
okay, maybe.
And we got on another train. The last one, it was just like two boards. And we sat on it, just and it was like near the middle of the night or late at night anyway. So.
With chickens and pigs on the train.
Yeah, not quite, but it was like, it just like to see the difference between this train to that train to that train. It just got, I'm waiting for, get out and push or something like that.
I remember arriving in Sault Ste. Marie, and it being so cold. There was frost on the ground, and it was so cold one morning. I thought when we arrived in the train, but it wouldn't have been in the morning that we arrived in the train, so it's sort of strange.
It was late at night, very late at night, I think.
I remember it being sunny and frosty and going, we're so far north. We weren't that far north, but in my brain, we were so far north because it was not that cold anymore down where we were. It never got that cold. It was June already or something, and it was still had frost on the ground kind of thing in the morning. So yeah, I remember that.
Little things, that we remember. But yeah, it was nice walking to that train station and seeing that. I'm still waiting to see in Grimsby, there was a doctor's office, I think. And I remember, I don't know if this was the doctor's office or we went by, but it was, there were houses with circular stones that were in front of the porch. And it was a very particular kind of stones. And it wasn't bricks. It was like roundish, but not completely round stones on the porch. And it's like, okay, I'm going to see if I can find that house again. So I think it's probably there. It's probably on a main street. It's probably not, hidden. But if it's still standing, it's like, see the house again. That would be kind of cool. I went there all
the time for my hay fever shots.
Yes. And I must have gone there once before too.
Yeah. And when I put my tooth through my bottom lip, when I bit through my bottom lip.
You did that? Because Andrew did it too.
Yeah, I did. I went Case Center School. If you're facing, like if you're in the back facing the school on the very right-hand side, so the furthest away from our house, there was a bit of a hill going down. Yeah. Where there was the pavement around the school, then a hill, and there was ice, and people are all sliding down. I went right in the back of somebody's head. Oh. My tooth went through up the bottom part of my lip, and I had to go get, I think, 1 or 2 stitches.
Yeah, just like Andrew. So Andrew's in the hot. We went to see because it looked like he's going to need. They call it plastic, so it's a guy who can do skin stuff, like not just a regular stitch up. It's like it's on the face, so they want it to be pretty. Yeah. So we didn't know if his tooth was involved. We know it's a lot of blood, so I said, "Well, does he need a stitch?" So he pulled out the lip, and he stuck a pen-like instrument through his tooth, and it came out, and it's like, or through his lip, and it's like, okay, I guess he needs stitches. The man went right through.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had a hole in mine too.
Yeah.
I don't remember for sure, but I remember I needed stitches, and I think it was like right through.
Yeah,
But
Andrew
I don't have any marks from it, so
No.
maybe it was just inside.
Well, Andrew had that. Andrew's had these stitches. He's had these stitches. He's had something on his eyebrow. So he's had a few things. He had the, what do you call it? Sledgehammer on the head. That was Martin.
I had sledgehammer on my thumb. I broke a finger. Remember?
Yes, the Heinzmans.
Yeah,
They had stones, and they were smashing them with the sledgehammer, and the dust was going away, and the hammer came down. Yeah. Flat.
We wonder what's inside this rock. You know what was inside it? More rock.
Yeah. Okay. So do you remember Stephanie Kurth? Okay. She was my age, or actually she's quite a bit older. Like, I think like at the time when you're in kindergarten, grade 2 is older. But she lived in the same place as Robbie and whatever Heinzman.
You say it, but
right. So guess who lives at the village of Wentworth Heights? Her mother.
Oh yeah.
So I went into the Vernon's directory from 19.
Her last name's Kurth.
Kurth.
Oh, Kurth.
No, Curth. Okay. So went into a Vernon's directory and found a list of the people who lived in that building. It was like 6 apartments, and what their phone numbers were back in 1967. So I found that list and sent it to Mom, and it's like, that's pretty cool. Because you can do, I found Dad worked for Paramount TV in 1963.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So it's called the Vernon's directory, and it gives you every phone number and who's attached to it. So it goes 383-8382 and with the person, and then 383-383-383-384, like, and you can go find the number of anybody. Right. It goes by streets, and it went by just last names. So it was very comprehensive, and it would do businesses where people worked. It was pretty cool. So, and they're all now online, so I'm able to look up stuff.
Yeah.
I like that research stuff.
Oh, I'm getting a phone call. So
okay.
We'll
bye.
Let you go. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was fast.